Uber Eats versus DoorDash in San Francisco. Can you still make money with these apps in 2025? What up, internet world? It's your boy Jermaine back with another video. And by popular demand, someone asked me, make a video compare and contrast DoorDash and Uber Eats in 2025. So here we have it. If you guys don't know, back in the day when the apps were really popular, I was online in San Francisco making hella videos, riding in a bike, riding scoots, driving cars, doing whatever, making videos, delivering. Nowadays, the whole delivery market has completely changed. SF used to be like one of the hottest spots to make money doing delivery apps, and I know for sure that it's definitely not the #1 spot in the US anymore. It has fallen greatly just because a lot of people moved away from the city, and there's a lot more other opportunities and apps in other parts of the country, and there's a lot of other opportunities outside of San Francisco. So back on Uber Eats versus DoorDash. Okay, now of course Uber driving, that's totally different, but you also have people in the car and there's different requirements, different cars and stuff like that. But if you want to just do Uber Eats or DoorDash, you can use a bike, you could walk, or you can use an older car, which is kind of cool. Like if you got like a brand new car, it may not be so great to do Uber Eats in, because you could probably make more money driving people just because you got a newer car, and newer cars, like the rates are a little bit higher versus delivering food. But the one thing about delivering food, you don't drive as much. You might drive 2 miles from the pickup and the drop off, and you may drive 2 miles and get $20. You know, that's really good. Versus if you're driving Uber, you're probably going to be driving a whole lot more for $20. Okay. Now, the biggest thing I've noticed with Uber Eats is, and DoorDash, we got a lot of restaurants that closed down in SF, and we also have a lot of people that moved away. So right there, you're going to have way less orders, and there's way less options for people to pick and choose from. Also in SF, and these are not just SF problems, these problems exist in other cities as well. Also, we have a very low tourism rate right now. I just remember a couple of years ago, in the middle of the summer, it was more tourists. And there are less tourists, and I believe it also has a lot to do with the economy just throughout the country, and also the economy around the world, and also maybe a lot of political drama why international tourists don't want to come here as much. So that's not just a San Francisco problem. That's sort of a problem that a lot of places are having. We have a lot of places that are closed, and then the work from home culture still is very popular here. But when it comes to Uber Eats and DoorDash, man, they're a struggle. Like they are. Before the pandemic, one could easily make $300 to $400 a day if you worked all day. Nowadays in 2025, it would be very difficult to make $100 on Uber and DoorDash in the same day. Like it can be done, especially on the weekends, but like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it is going to be a grind, yo. You're going to have to cross your fingers and hope you get lucky. One thing I will say about Uber, there are certain orders that pop up on Uber Eats, and it may be an order, it may be a large order, okay? 20 items. Now, obviously, this is going to an office, but when you accept that order, maybe it said $12, and maybe the pickup and drop off was really close. I've had a lot of these offers where I get to the office and I hit, deliver it, and I automatically get the $12. So great, I get $12. But then later, an hour later, I get like an extra tip, right? An extra $20 on top of that $12. That's lovely. Okay, I've noticed this on Uber. This doesn't happen all the time, but this happens when there's large orders. Okay, large orders are usually going to happen Monday through Friday during lunchtime, and it's usually going to go to an office. With DoorDash, I've taken orders that were 30 items, 40 items. I'm talking about 5 big bags. And I've taken these orders from like the financial district, like all the way to Outer Mission. DoorDash gives you $7.50. Yeah, the payouts are I don't get it. The payouts are so low on DoorDash. Usually, if I run DoorDash and Uber Eats, I've noticed that, especially on DoorDash, like, the pay is so low that like you always get the Prop 22. So for example, on that large order I did, which DoorDash, probably made, 35% off of that. And I'm thinking it was probably a $300 order. So they got like $90 off of that. Well, they only paid me $7.50, but that order took me like 30 minutes to complete. So with the Prop 22, since they only paid me $7.50 for that order, and they with the Prop 22, you make at least like $25 an hour, I believe. So they would instead of me getting the $7.50 for that 30 minutes, they would bump that up to like $12.50 for that 30 minutes. So I would get a little bit more money with the Prop 22. But it's just insane how little that DoorDash pays. Now I know on Uber Eats, it's pretty much the same thing. But at least, like, it seems like the tips on Uber Eats are a little bit better than DoorDash, if not a whole lot better than DoorDash. I just noticed that, like, I don't get the Prop 22 as much on Uber, and that's because when Uber sends you an offer, the offers that they typically send are a little bit higher than the DoorDash offers, and then if you can complete those offers pretty fast, they're not going to have to pay you the Prop 22 because it didn't take you that long. Or the order that they gave you was a decent order when they gave it to you. Unlike with DoorDash, they constantly give you these crap orders. And another problem with the Prop 22, I hear some people say, and I never really thought about this, but this is totally true. If they actually paid you the money for a delivery up front, right? You would get that money up front. So you could cash out that money like today, and you could use that money today, right now. But since they're paying you these low offers, like super low offers, and then you have to wait for the Prop 22, well, they pay you the Prop 22 like a week or two later. So it's like, yeah, maybe they're going to give you $100, and they're going to give all these other people their Prop 22 money, but that's money that they don't have to pay at the time that the person did the job, right? That's money that they can pay later. So they could, if they paid me that money like 5 days later, like I could make more money with that money 5 days later. I could pay bills earlier. I could invest that money, right? But they keep all of that money and they don't pay it out, which works for them. They can make a little extra. They can squeeze the pig a little bit more. I don't know. I don't really like that. I wish that we could just get all the money up front, right? But that's just one thing. Another big problem with these food delivery apps, and this is really the elephant in the room, this is really the meat and potatoes for this video, is the amount of fake accounts that exist. Okay, now the Uber driver app had this problem a couple years ago where, I don't know how people were doing this, but they would do something with the Uber app where like they would constantly get rides. Right? They would constantly get rides, and other Uber drivers would not get any rides. Okay. I don't know what they were doing, but I don't think that works like that anymore. I think Uber fixed that problem. However, on DoorDash, it's just very known in San Francisco, especially in the carrier community, because there's a bunch of people that deliver food and ride bikes and stuff like that. And a lot of these people like hang out and talk. Well, fake DoorDash accounts, I was hearing about it a lot about a year ago. I haven't really heard about like any fake accounts recent, but fake accounts. So basically what people would do is they would buy these fake accounts, and usually it would be, undocumented people. But then I've also heard of like people that, that are born in this country that had another DoorDash account or another Uber account or whatever account, Grubhub or whatever, and they would basically use the fake account because maybe the fake account had better ratings, and then also like, well, the fake account is not connected to them, and if the fake account is not connected to them, they can save a lot of money on. I'm not even gonna say that T word, but they could basically save a lot of money because it's not their account, right? They could use it for a couple months and throw it out. So I was hearing about this quite a bit, but then this was also around the same time that I noticed that the scooter invasion started to happen in San Francisco. So if you don't know about the scooter invasion is if you have ever been driving around San Francisco in the past 6 months, you know what I'm talking about. The large amount of scooters that are driving around in the city, right? And I don't know where all these scooter people come from. I just noticed that there's a lot of scooters around, and a lot of these people, I don't know if this is true, but I hear that, like, I don't know, a lot of their accounts might not be legit, you know? I noticed when I go to certain restaurants to pick food up, like, no one speaks English. This is another common thing I've noticed too. Just a couple days ago, I was at one particular restaurant. I'm not going to say the name of this restaurant, but this is a very popular restaurant, okay? I walked in to pick up an order, and luckily, like, you don't really have to talk to people when you pick up the order. You can just show your phone, and then they just, they scream at you, confirm, 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 confirm. Like, they just, get all hostile, right? And you're like, okay, I'm confirming, right? And especially with the DoorDash app, you have to sometimes you have to take a photo of the receipt. And then these people are still yelling at you like, confirm, 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 because, people will steal the food. Basically, carriers would go into the restaurant, show the phone, the people would give them the food, and then they would walk out the restaurant and then cancel the order. They would say either order was already picked up or, cancel. They would cancel the order, and then they would keep the food. So then the restaurants got really aggressive and like, confirm, confirm, confirm. So I don't know, that's kind of why, restaurants are like that. But the whole no English thing I've noticed was in a restaurant a couple days ago, and I was blown away. Like, the people that worked at the restaurant, like, barely spoke English, like just a little bit. All the delivery people, majority of them, no English spoken either. They're all speaking like 5 different languages are going on. And then there's tourists in the restaurant, right? They don't speak English either. And I'm like, man, like, wow, look at this. Like, I need to go back to America because, like, obviously this ain't it. Like, nobody speaks English. Like, nobody speaks English here. And I'm not tripping about, like, nobody speaking English. Like, I got a translator on my phone. I got a translator on my Ray-Ban Metas. So if you don't speak English, I can figure out what you're saying. But it's like, yeah, these jobs have, like, they've really changed, bro. Like, they've really changed. I remember when DoorDash and Uber Eats and Postmates, when it was around, when it was around, pretty much every person that I knew that was doing these apps, because you would always see people in restaurants, they're all English-speaking people, bro. They're all, like, people that are, first generation born here. Nowadays, when I go to restaurants and pick stuff up, it's like I am literally the minority. I don't really see many English-speaking people anymore. Like, it is literally all foreign people, right? And it's kind of insane if you have a car and you're driving, like, downtown. They have gotten a lot better with this. But the scooters would literally just park everywhere. Like, it would be a white zone, and it would be a white zone for, like, 5 cars to park there. Bro, it would be so many scooters in the white zone that only 1 car can park there. And the messed up thing about taking up the white zone is the white zone is used for multiple purposes. It's used for, a delivery driver to park their car and run inside and pick up an order. It's also used for Uber drivers to safely pick up passengers and drop passengers off. And then now when you just see a whole bunch of scooters there, it's like, so now you're an Uber driver, you gotta drop people off in the street. If you are picking up someone and they're not outside, now you gotta double park and you gotta block the street because there's all these scooters, and they're basically just congregating. They're just hanging out. They're not really, like, picking orders up. And also with DoorDash and Uber, man, they have lowered the rates so much. The amount of $3 orders I see is insane. Okay, the amount of $4 offers I see is just insane. But I will say this. Just because you see a $4 offer or a $3 offer, especially on Uber, I don't know that much about DoorDash because I don't get that many offers on DoorDash. But I may bank off some of them $3 deliveries on Uber Eats because that's customer tip, right? Customer tip. And it's like, dang, I made a little bit of money. But it's not like that all the time. It is not like that all the time. And when it comes to DoorDash versus Uber, DoorDash, you got to jump through a lot more hoops, yo. You got to have your acceptance rating at a certain level for you to get better offers. With Uber, they don't care nothing about your acceptance rating. You know, if you want to be a platinum, yeah, you need a certain acceptance rating. Also with DoorDash, it's really hard to go online with DoorDash a lot of times. A lot of times it just won't let you online because it's not busy enough. With Uber, they'll still let you online. If it's slow, if you stay online for 4 hours and you get no offers, at least they still let you access the app. DoorDash, no, they'll just schedule you. You know, it'll be 1 o'clock in the afternoon and they say, yeah, you can work at 5, right? And then you schedule yourself for 5 and then you get a little notification on your phone. You can go on the app now. Another thing that's really annoying that DoorDash do and Uber doesn't do, I'm really glad Uber doesn't do this. DoorDash will message you. They will send you like a notification on the app saying it's busy out, it's busy out. And it's been so many times where I get that notification and I cut the app on and I have the app on for 3 hours. Not one request come through. So why would you even tell me that it's busy if I go online and you don't even send me one request? Okay. I don't know. But when DoorDash is good, DoorDash is good. So when is DoorDash good? DoorDash is typically good on the weekends, especially with Uber Eats too. Usually the weekends, the shopping pays can be really good on DoorDash and Uber. I really like shopping pays, but I hardly ever get a shopping pay. I get a shopping pay maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a month. Okay, I love shopping pays. Also with Uber Eats and DoorDash, you have Safeway deliveries. One thing I've noticed about Safeway deliveries, they all kind of suck because they may give you 2 orders, Safeway orders, and it will be a basket full of items. Literally, it will be a basket full of items, and you will always have to take it to the 3rd floor in a building with no elevator. And you always have to take 2 trips. And the people always order water. Okay, they always do it. They always order sodas. It's always the heaviest stuff. Okay, it's always eggs. So you got to be careful not to break the eggs. You know, they pay decent, but it's a lot of work. Like, for real, it's a lot of work. Like, I don't mind doing them, but once again, I don't really get that many offers like that. You know, some people get them offers all the time. I randomly get them. So I wouldn't mind doing, you know, the grocery delivery just because you're going back and forth to the same spot and you don't have nobody in the car with you. And I kind of like that too, because when you drive an Uber, sometimes passengers just be annoying. Like, bottom line, you get somebody in the car, they be yelling on the phone, they be tripping. When you delivering food, you ain't got to worry about that. Food ain't going to talk. Food going to be sitting back there chilling. But for now, I just want to make a quick video talking about Uber Eats and DoorDash San Francisco. Can you make money with it? Yo, you can, but it's a grind. It's a grind. And when the city starts to fill back up, when these office buildings start to fill back up, like, I don't know when that's ever going to happen, if it's going to happen again. I think things might be popping then because the demand will be back. But right now, it's not that much demand, y'all. It is not that much demand. But for now, I'm going to wrap this video up. So like, comment, subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching. Y'all got any questions or comments, put them down below. And I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye. Ow!